Okay, Bismillah. We have lesson 6.5, complex numbers in polar form and de Moivre's theorem. In the first period today, we studied how to graph or plot point a complex number in the complex plane. We said that the x-axis is the real axis and the y-axis is the imaginary axis. And the way to plot any complex number in the complex plane, you just plot it as the original, the same as the rectangular point, the order pair 3 and 4, or the order pair -1 and -2, or -3 and 0. They are the same. Okay. Also, we saw how to find the absolute value of a complex number, determine the absolute value of each of the following complex numbers. Z equals 3 plus 4i. You just square the real part plus square the imaginary part. So the absolute value of z equals the radical or the square root of 3 squared plus 4 squared. You just square 3, it's 9, plus 4 squared is 16, and the root of 25 is 5. And we did it with letter B the same, -2 squared plus -2 squared. Now, our new issue today, guys, our new objective is to write the polar form of a complex number. Yeah, so I'm gonna give you a complex number z equals a plus bi, and I'm gonna ask you to find or write it as a polar form. The polar form, which is in terms of r and theta, right? And since it's in r and theta, we can find r easily by using this formula. R equals, pay attention please, r equals root a squared plus b squared, such that a is the real part and b is the imaginary part. And since we know that in the right triangle, at the figure here at the right, we know that to plot a and b as any point in the rectangular coordinate system, we have a right triangle. You can say that cosine theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse a over r, and sine theta is b over r, and tan theta is b over a. So simply we can say that a equals r cosine theta and b equals r sine theta. And also use that tan theta is y over x or b over a. So replace every point here. Replace the a by r cosine theta and replace the b by r sine theta in the complex number z equals API, writing a as r cosine theta plus r sine theta I, and take r common factor. So always you will find me write any complex number as r into cosine theta plus I sine theta. So the important thing here, guys, from this slide, I would like to take here the z as, I'll write z as r cosine theta plus I sine theta. How to find the r? By using square root of a squared plus b squared. R equals a squared plus b squared underneath the square root, cosine theta plus I sine theta. So simply, if you have a complex number z equals a plus bi, pay attention all of you please, a plus bi can be written in polar form. The polar form z equal r into cosine theta plus I sine theta. You should know or memorize or keep this form in your mind, that z يعني complex number in the polar form equals r parentheses cosine theta plus I sine theta. You can find r by the square root of a squared plus b squared. You can find the a equal r cosine and b r sine, and tan b over a. The value of r is the modulus, is what? The modulus of moduli, the plural of the complex number z, and the angle is called the argument. The angle is the argument. Theta is between 0 and 2 pi, and the r is the modulus. Let's solve here this example. The question is asking us here, guys, to plot z equals -2 minus 2i in the complex plane, then write z in polar form. then write what? Z in the polar form. First of all, to plot negative 2, negative 2i, negative 2 minus 2i, it's the same as negative 2 and negative 2. You just move 2 units left and 2 units down. 2 units left and 2 units down, guys. 11b, wake up. And then connect the origin by this point, negative 2 and negative 2. The distance between the red point now and the origin 0, 0 is r. And to find the r, I'm writing z in a polar form. In a polar form, you should find the r.
Root.
Yeah,
Square root
of
a squared plus b squared.
Plus b squared. You should identify a and b first at the right. The a, the real part, which is negative 2, and the imaginary part, negative 2 also. So the r equals root a squared plus b squared, which can be written as negative 2 all squared plus negative 2 all squared. Yes, so it's the square root of negative 2 squared. خلي بالك negative is inside the square, inside the parentheses, and the power 2 is all over negative 2 and 2. The negative and 2, so it's 4 now. Plus 4 gives a radical what? Radical 8. Radical
equal
8
to
can be
radical
written as 2 radical 2, and you can do it in the calculator. This is the first what? The first step, step number 1. And step number 2, simply find what? The angle. The angle. To find the angle, we start by tan theta is equal to what, guys? Y over x. Y over x. B over a, as he said. So what's the value of b? B is negative 2. Over the a is also negative 2. So negative 2 divided negative 2 is 1. So what angle it's tan is 1. What angle it's tan is 1? يعني theta is equal to tan inverse of 1. So it's in the first quadrant, right? We can find the angle here in the first quadrant. We can name it alpha. This angle alpha, it's positive angle because in the first quadrant it has, so it's pi over 4. It has a tan function of 1 or tan ratio of 1, which is pi over 4. Pi over 4 in the first quadrant, it's up here. So you know that here is alpha, and this one also is here alpha. So to find the angle theta, what should we do here, guys? Yes, we have to move. Yes, because alpha equals pi over 4, and we know that alpha is like this here, pi over 4 plus 180, because we are in the third quadrant. So my theta, so we can erase here this theta and write alpha, guys. Alpha طبعا اللي هي positive angle, which is in the first quadrant, and it has a tan value of pi over 4. But your theta here in the question should be 180, which is pi plus your angle in the first quadrant, the reference angle, which is 5 pi over
4.
5 pi over 4. So to write now the number, complex number here z, اللي هو given in the question, بدل ما هو negative 2i in the complex form, a plus bi, we can write it now in polar form, z in polar form.
Yes.
Oh, remember, guys, from the previous slide, what is the form we have to follow? R
equal cosine theta plus I sine theta.
Cosine
times
what,
cosine
Muhammad?
theta
Plus
I sine theta.
Sine what? Sine theta equals the r from the first step is 2 radical 2 into open parentheses cosine the angle اللي احنا طلعناها 5 pi over 4 in radians, or you can leave it in degrees, no problem, which is 180 plus 45. You can write it in degrees. 180 plus 45 is 200 and what?
25.
225 degrees. So we can write here بدل 5 pi over 4, we can write it as 225 degrees plus I sine the same angle 225 degrees, or in radians اللي هي 5 pi over 4.
Yes.
And that's it. That's it, guys, to write your number z from negative 2i to polar form r into cosine theta plus I sine theta. You have to keep it and then convert this by finding the R first step to find R يعني, and its rule is clear now. Radical A squared plus B squared, and then find tan theta, which is Y over X or A or B over A. It's 1. أجيب الألفا first اللي انتوا شايفينها in the first quadrant, which is 45, and it's equivalent to 2 alpha here. So we are in the third quadrant, pi plus alpha. Pi plus alpha. It is alpha, so gives 5 pi over 4 and use it in radians 4. This all for question number 3, and how to convert writing a complex number in a polar form. Okay. We'll stop right now, guys, and then ask you if you have any question for what I said now in the example or the previous slide. So simply, this is the polar form of what? The polar form. Okay, this is the polar form of.
Yes.
Something. Okay, this is the complex number in polar form. قد قتلته. Okay. You have to find the absolute value, the R, and you have to find the argument, the modulus, and the argument, which is the theta, and the R here, which is what? The modulus. The checkpoint number 3 for you guys who would like to answer. Raise hand, please. We activated the raise hand again, guys, so you can raise hand now and participate with me. Could you please, Mr. Muhammad Faris, solve here this question, checkpoint number 3?
Hello, Mr.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
So, yalla, Mr. The
Okay,
answer.
step 1 will find A and B.
Right,
Yes.
our number now is -1, negative I radical 3. So, what is the A?
A is -1.
Right, and B, the imaginary part?
-1 also.
How negative? Radical
I'm not
3.
sure.
Negative radical 3.
Yes.
Negative radical 3.
Yes. Now we'll find R.
Yes, it is an important information, guys. You should know. Don't write radical 3i, because
Yes.
sometimes you are confusing that the I is inside the root together. Okay, so write negative I, radical 3i. Always make the I first. But when it's 2i, don't write I2. Okay? Okay? Write what 2i. Yes.
Okay, now we find R.
The first step. What is the modulus?
Radical -1 squared
Yes.
plus negative radical 3 squared.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Wait, 1 minute.
Yes. -1 squared is
1 squared.
Plus 3. The squaring of negative radical 3 gives 3.
Yes, it will be 4, so 2.
Radical 4, which is 2. So
2.
it's 2. The second step is to find the argument theta. And we start from tan theta is equal to what?
Tan theta equal Y over X or B over A.
Yes.
So negative radical 3 over -1. It's a radical 3. The angle.
The angle is radical 3?
Yeah. No, tan theta is radical 3.
Yes, tan theta
Yes.
is equal to.
Now we will find alpha.
Let's plot first the number, the complex
Okay.
number, -1, negative radical 3i. So I'm gonna move 1 to the left, -1, and negative radical 3. I need a calculator to evaluate this, but I know that radical 3 is 1.71, something like this. So my answer is -1.71. And here, okay, and then connect here the point with the pole, with the 0, 0, the origin, and here is R, and here is the theta, the angle theta, which is here, like this. We are moving from the positive part of the x-axis, or we name it the standard position. دايما نبدأ من ال positive part of the x-axis and move counterclockwise theta degrees. What angle in the first quadrant? Let's stick here red. شوف, in the first quadrant, there is an angle here. It's called the alpha. And
Yes.
equal to this one also. The opposite one by vertical angles are congruent. Yes. It is the real axis, and here is the imaginary axis, yi. Yes, so what? Angle in the first quadrant has a tan value of, يعني tan alpha equals radical 3. So alpha equals, I'm talking about the first quadrant, the reference
Inverse.
angle.
Tan inverse.
Tan inverse of radical 3 on the
Radical
calculator.
3.
It's 60. Is it 60 or 30?
Oof.
Pi over 2,
It's
pi over 3?
1 over pi over 3.
Yes, it's pi over 3, which is 60, yes. It's 60 degrees, or pi over 3. خلي بالك, alpha is pi over 3, right?
Yes.
So what is theta here? Theta is in the third quadrant, right?
Yes.
The theta نفسها in the
Third
third
quadrant.
So to find the theta, we have to depend on the reference angle, which is pi over 3. And if you remember, guys, the reference angle is how many degrees the terminal side away from the x-axis. Okay, so alpha here, this part represented here, بيمثلك قد ايه التيرمينال side is moved away from the x-axis. يعني we need pi over 3 to touch the x-axis again. So since we are in the third quadrant, برضه التيرمينال side بتاعنا او النمبر, so it's pi plus pi over 3. It's 4 pi over 3. How to do it quickly? Imagine that there is 4 over 4 here. يعني 4 over 4 pi plus 1 pi over 3 equals, sorry, 3 over 3, not 4 over 3.
3 over 3.
Okay, it's 3 over 3 plus 1 pi over 3 equals 4 pi over 3. يلا اكتب بقى
Now
النمبر z
polar
equal
form. Yes.
R.
Z R into cosine theta plus I sine theta.
plus I sine theta equals the R.
I.
R
R is
is up
2
here, 2.
into cosine 4 pi over 3.
Yes, into the cosine, which is pi over 3.
Cosine 4 pi over 3.
أيوة, 4 pi over 3 plus I sine.
Plus I sine 4 pi over 3.
Yes, thanks a lot. So this is our final answer, is to plot the number in the complex plane and then write the number in what, Muhammad? Write the number in polar form. So this is my final answer, which is 2 into cosine 4 pi over 3 plus I sine 4 pi over 3. Yes. I'm waiting for your questions, guys, if you would like to ask me about any step I did here. So this is our third objective today, our third goal today, writing and plotting the complex numbers in polar form. Okay? Okay, any questions? Let's continue, guys, and taking the next example. It's given z equals 2 into cosine 60 plus I sine 60, and the question is asking to write here this complex number in what? In rectangular what? In rectangular what? Form. What's the rectangular form? X and Y. And the rectangular form, which is what? X and Y. So we need to convert it first into the complex form a plus bi, and it's the same as the rectangular form X and Y. And my goal here is to write this z as, I have to reach this step, that z equals a plus bi. And since you know a and b, it's the same as a x and y, right? Which is rectangular form. rectangular form. With me guys احنا المفروض نعمل ايه؟ Yes, يلا. The answer is the answer. We know that z is equal to 2 into cosine 60 degrees plus I sine 60. حلو جدا.
R equal to
R is 2, it's clear. And theta is 60 degrees, or you can write it as pi over 3. بس خليها 60, it's a bit. What we have to do, guys, what is A? فاكرين الرول? A equals R R cosine theta, and we have B equals R sine theta. From where you know this, mister? حافظها يعني؟ لا. تعال يا شباب، لا مش نروح هنا على الريكتانجل complex plane, and I said for you, if we have any complex number A plus BI, how to graph it, how to plot it in the coordinate plane, بتحط البوينت A and B, right? Connect بقى complete drawing the right triangle, moving theta like this, and here's the distance R, and A like this, and B like this, زي ما انتم شايفين in this figure. To find the cosine angle theta, it's the adjacent over the hypotenuse, which is A over R. Cross multiplication gives the value of A. A equals R cosine theta. Yes. Simply, we can do it also, or similarly, we can do it the same for B. That's for sine now. Sine theta equals the opposite B over the hypotenuse R. The opposite over the hypotenuse. So now B equals R sine the angle theta. Okay, so دول اللي أنا هستخدمهم in this question. Yes, which is A equals R cosine theta. Yeah, A equals the R, Yusuf said 2, and cosine 60 degrees. And the B equals 2 also, sine what? Pay attention يا شباب, okay? 60 degrees. I know. Pay attention. طيب 2 cosine 60, you can do it in the calculator easily and quickly. Cosine 60, which is radical 3 over 2, or half, right? It's a half.
Half. So 1.
Half. So 2 times half is 1. So A is 1. A is what? Is 1. نيجي لل B equals R sine theta, and here B equals 2 sine 60. And sine 60, sure?
Radical 3 over 2.
Yes, because you know that cosine 60 is half.
Yes, cancel 2.
So it's radical 3. Yeah, yes. So B here is radical 3. Now you can write Z in complex form. A plus BI. ده اسمه complex form. اللي هي ال A معاك
1 plus radical 3i.
يا سلام لم. But he said, and you don't write like this, guys. Don't write the I after the radical. هتعمل
so I radical 3.
Write it as I first and then radical 3. So what is the rectangular now form? The rectangular form is
1 and square root of 3.
Yes. Easy, right?
Yes.
Easy lesson and interesting at the same time. يعني حلو. That's لذيذ. Okay, 1 and radical 3. 1 and radical 3. Okay. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, يوسف. طيب الباقي يا شباب take care that in this lesson or in this period we started how to writing a complex number in polar form, and now it's given in polar form. Well, now we have how many steps? 3 steps only, and the third step is to write the number in polar form. Z equals R into cosine theta plus I sine theta. Now in this question, لو example 4, writing the complex number in rectangular form. هو بيعطيها لك هنا ايه؟ It's given as a polar form, a complex number written in as a polar form, and asking you to write it in rectangular form. لازم بعدي أحولها بالمرة إلى complex number, and then it's A and B. Okay, you have to find the A and B. A is R cosine theta, and B is R sine theta. And write the number Z equals A plus BI. لو هو محتاجة complex form, محتاجة rectangular form, it's 1 and radical 3. Yes. Checkpoint number 4. Checkpoint number 4. Yes. يس يا شباب، مين متحمس يقدر يعملها؟ سريع سريع سريع. عبد الاله، سمعناش صوتك هذا الترم. يلا عبد الاله, how to solve this one? Yes, I would like to hear your voice quickly. Solve يلا معايا this question. Z is 4 cosine 30 plus I sine 30. The same as the previous question. Have a look quickly. The same as the previous question, same way يعني, same answer, same steps. So your goal is to find what? A and B. And here is the formula for A. Here is the formula you have to use for B. يلا. Okay, what is A first, mister? I don't know. What is B? Yeah, I don't know.
4 mister.
Yes. Let's find first the R and theta. R and theta. What is R?
R4.
Hello. R is 4. What is theta? The angle? The angle? 30 degrees. Excellent. So, what is A? And what is B formula? يعني what formula we should use to find the A and B? A equal? Have a look again. No problem. نحفظها شوي شوي. R cosine.
R cosine theta.
And B equals R sine theta. So the sine with B and the cosine with A.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What is A?
A4.
What is A? The rule. احنا لسه قايلينها. What's the rule?
A R cosine theta.
R cosine theta. What is B?
R sine theta.
R sine theta. Yes. So يلا substitute for R and for theta.
4
Yes.
cosine 30.
Cosine 30. Right. Degrees. And then calculate. 4 cosine 30 on the calculator equals. Do you have a calculator?
Yes, mister. Just
Yeah.
calculate. Radical 3.
2 radical 3. Right. For B.
4 sine 30.
Yeah. 4 sine 30. So B equals
2.
2. Excellent. So what's the next step? Is to write Z, هذا النمبر, هذا الكومبلكس number as A plus B I. So A is?
A equal 2 radical 3.
Yes, plus the imaginary part.
2.
The B is 2I. I means imaginary. And
Yes.
if you remember, I is radical -1. So I have now A and I have B. So can that my goal? And I already did. Like, what's the rectangular form? The rectangular form is A and B, A comma B in the ordered pair.
2 radical 3 and 2. 2
And 2, that's it. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay. So let's highlight here the answer. My answer, guys, is radical 2 radical 3 and 2. يعني A is 2 radical 3 and the imaginary part is 2. Now you can plot the complex number in the coordinate in the complex plane. You can find the absolute value of the complex number. You can also, or you have the ability today also, or you have learned that absolute value. أخذنا كمان how to write the complex number in polar form والعكس, how to write the polar form as a complex or finding its rectangular form. Any questions?
No, mister. Thank you.
Welcome, Ahmad. Yes. طيب نادر أحمد. Where is Nader? He's not here. لا Nader. Where is your mic, Nader? عبادة نشأت. Also the same. Where is your mics, guys? Participate. Okay. طيب. Let's move on to the next idea in this lesson. Product of two complex numbers in polar form. Listen carefully. The product and the quotient and the roots. We still have in this lesson how to find the product of two complex numbers, how to find the quotient and in polar form. ما تفتكرش بقى بتاعت زمان بتيجي في السات اللي هي طبعا تقول لي يا مستر طب احنا عارفينها اللي هي 3 plus 2 plus 3i for example times 2 minus 3i. Easy here. We studied وكانت بتيجي في SAT. أو مثلا you have to find 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 3i. This is a quotient, right? أو مثلا 3 plus 4i dividing by 2 minus 3i. This is easy. You studied this in algebra 2, right? Multiplying a complex number by a complex number and they are written in the complex form. A plus bi عادي. But now you have what? Multiplying or finding the product of two complex numbers وكل حاجة بس written in polar form. Yeah,
Yes.
two numbers are written in polar form. There is a big difference here. ما بين اللي أخذته زمان ودلوقتي. طيب Z1 يعني the first complex number is R1 cosine theta 1 plus I sine theta 1. And Z2 يعني the second complex number
cosine.
is R2 cosine theta 2 plus I sine theta 2. نفس الشكل. Okay. Their product Z1 Z2 يعني their product when you multiply طبعا
Yes.
X times Y is XY. When you multiply A and B it's AB. So the product Z1 Z2, what should we do? Multiply R1 R2 and
Yes.
add the what? The arguments. Again, multiply the moduli, yes. And add the angles, add the arguments. Okay? Simple and easy now. This is the rule. For example, why and why not and how to prove that it's why to be in this form, it's not what important. I have to multiply using a foil وفي الآخر يطلع لك R1 R2 into cosine theta 1 plus theta 2 plus I sine theta 1 plus theta 2. Who got the idea, guys, and can solve this question is on? Who can solve this question? Who got the idea quickly? Find the product
Yes, sir.
of the
Okay.
complex numbers, leave the answer in polar form.
Yes.
Yes, the answer.
Z1.
Z1
Okay. Z1 Z2
يعني the product.
equal 4 times 4 7 4 times 7
Let's highlight
R1
here 4
R2.
and 7 in what? Highlight 4 and 7 in yellow. يعني
Okay.
معناها شباب إنه we're gonna multiply 4 by 7 first. Gives what?
R1 R2 4 times 7 28.
هتكتب الرول الأول تبقى ممتاز. R1
Okay.
R2
R1 R2
and cosine
cosine theta 1
parentheses theta 1 plus
theta 2 into I
plus
sine
not into
I
not times I then
sine theta 1 plus theta 2. Yes. No.
then substitute here it is.
Yes.
R1 and
Equal
R2
4 times 7 28 into cosine
the sum
50
of, yeah, highlight
50
by
plus
green.
100.
I'm gonna highlight this by green, guys. يعني معناها I'm gonna
Yes.
add 50 and 100.
That's 100.
So what's the plus of the sum of the arguments?
150. Cosine 150
150 degrees plus
degrees
I
plus I sine also 150 degrees. Yes.
Yes, easy here, easy, right?
Yeah.
This is the product of two complex numbers, Z1 and Z2,
Z2.
Z1 times Z2. Yeah. Who has, guys, any problem in this part? Who don't know how to multiply now the who don't know how to multiply two complex numbers? Yes. Any questions?
No, this is the easiest question today.
Yes. We just multiply the R1 and R2, the moduli,
Yes.
and add the angles. if we multiply Z2 by Z1, let's try here. Sometimes it can different or the same.
Okay, Z2 by Z1.
Is Z1, Z2, Z1 is the same as Z1,
R.
Z2?
Yes, because
Still the same. نفسه.
yes, because
Okay.
صار multiplication is commutative.
Yes, that's all. هنجرب برضه الموضوع على quotient. Check point number 5. Check point number 5. We have to multiply Z1, Z2.
yes.
Let me ask, thank you, Muhammad Sbai. وفارس برضه you answered, Abdullah you answered. Who didn't answer guys today? من the first period, first and second. Omar Bahid-Din, you answered. Omar Zakaria, you didn't answer. Safe. You said for me, I'm gonna fix my mic ونفض. سحبت علي. Okay. طلال. يا شباب, who can answer? Raise hand, please.
I can answer Mr.
طلال, huh? You can answer. Okay, let's start. يلا طلال.
Okay.
Yeah, Z1
Z1
times Z2.
times Z2 equals R1,
Yeah,
R2.
best question. R1, R2, the product of them, and then cosine.
Cosine pi 1 plus pi 2.
Excellent. Then plus.
Plus I sine.
Mm-hmm.
Theta 1 plus theta 2.
Yes.
Okay, so Z1, Z2 equals to 6 times 5, which is 30.
30. Yeah. 6 by 5.
Yes. Then cosine, cosine
Okay,
60.
20.
Yes, cosine 60.
40 plus 20 plus I.
Plus I sine, again 40%, which is 60.
40 plus 20, which is 60.
Yeah, 60.
Equals 30 cosine.
60.
Yes, degrees. Plus I sine 60 and thanks a lot. ختموها مسك طلال. See you inshallah tomorrow guys and try to solve. Wait, where are you go guys? No homework يعني.
مصر مش كل يوم خلاص. مسامحة مصر.
Today is no homework,
عشان
please.
خاطرك بس يعني.
Thank you.
أستاذ محمد سباوي. خلاص.
شكراً.
No homework for today guys. ما خلص كمان شوية.
Okay, thank you,
To
Mr.
you and goodbye. See you tomorrow.
Goodbye, Mr.
Goodbye, Mr.